for putting on this forum. I think it's great to get the local folks out here and hear what we have to say. Usually I like to give a little introduction to myself, tell you why I'm running, and then what I hope to do if I'm lucky enough to get up to Tallahassee and represent this district. I'm Pat Rooney. I'm running for State House District 83, which is Carl Domino's current seat, and he's term limited after next year, so it's an open seat after that. I'm a Republican. I've lived in this district for 17, almost 18 years now. I came down here from Philadelphia. I moved in '92 after graduating. I got my law degree and my graduate degree, my MBA at Lehigh, and I moved down here in '92. At that time, I got immersed into the community. I joined the Republican Party of Palm Beach County and was the finance chair for a couple years in the mid-'90s and was heavily involved with the Republican Party almost till about 2000, 2001. Then my wife and I we're in the midst of having our family. We have 4 kids, 2 girls and 2 boys. They're getting a little bit older now, and that's afforded me the chance to run for this and to be able to balance things a little bit and continue to serve the public, or try to, and deal with home life. Been involved with multiple charitable organizations, everything from a child abuse home, Children's Place at Home Safe down in Lake Worth, to the Salvation Army, and almost everything in between. And really felt like now's the time to get re-involved in politics. I think with what's going on in not only our state but in our country, it's time that people step up and get involved. So why am I running? Currently, I'm the president of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. I also am the managing partner of a couple restaurants, Rooney's Public House in Abacoa and Rooney's All In Sports Bar in West Palm Beach. So I have a unique perspective of being able to run a large business with over 600 employees and a couple small businesses with about 30 employees. And I felt like we have enough doctors and accountants and especially lawyers, even though I am one, up in Tallahassee, but we don't have enough small businessmen, particularly business people, to represent their interests in Tallahassee that have that experience of running a small business. So that's why I want to run. What do I hope to accomplish if I get up there? The main issue for me, and I feel it's probably the main issue for a lot of you here, is jobs. It's job creation, it's job retention, it's finding economic diversification in this state, aside from tourism, agriculture, and construction, which are all great, but as we've seen, they're not able to sustain us long term, whether that's biotech that's happening right now in Jupiter with Max Planck and Scripps, or something else. We need to find other avenues in this state to help us prosper, not only for the rest of this century, but beyond, for our kids and grandkids. So figuring out what we need to do to retain jobs that we have and create new jobs is going to be my #1 priority. There's other issues, obviously, with energy, the environment. I've been fortunate to be on the South Florida Water Management District for the last 2.5 years, and I've learned a significant amount about our water supply and flood control and those types of issues, and that's important. Energy, education, obviously, but the economic situation with jobs is really going to be my #1 priority when I get up there. So in a very quick nutshell, that's who I am and why I'm running and what I hope to accomplish up there. And hopefully, as we go along in this process in August for the primary, you'll remember me and support me. I'm trying to keep it quick.
That's just right. Are there any questions, Card? There's one. Sorry, Commander, you have to have it on a card.
I have to have it on the card?
Do you have a card?
I'd like to.
Are you going to cite executive privilege?
No, I won't do that. I'll stick to the rule of the order. I'll govern myself accordingly.
Go ahead, very quickly, sir.
Knowing where we are educationally and knowing what we're up against with federal guidelines in our schools that are not annually meeting what they call AYP, what we're up against with FCAT, and where we rank nationally as a state, do you see FCAT as being something that needs to consistently be in our future? Or should we have a more global testing mechanism to ensure that we're getting the best bang for our buck for our children and our teachers in our already overcrowded classrooms? Because as we go educationally, so do we go economically with jobs and the expectation of meeting the green economy, the biotech economy, and having our children educationally ready for the vo-tech era that's hitting us in this pocket that we live in.
Well, if you want to stick around for another hour, I can try to answer that. I'll give you a quick, because I think I know where you're going with it. Obviously, part of this whole continuum about economic recovery, economic sustainability is predicated on education. If you don't have the kids that you can teach, and then also when you get them to a certain level of knowledge, make them want to stay here, not just leave. That's all the key. I was up at the Job Summit up in Orlando on Friday. Senator Herodopoulos and future Speaker of the House, Dean Cannon, put a group of folks together to try to come up with some rationale as to how we can create jobs in the state. And one of the interesting statistics that they had was dealt with education, and it talked about the unemployment level of different people of different levels of education. Those without a high school diploma, it was 15%, 15 to 16%. Those with a high school diploma, it's in the 10 to 12 where we're at right now, 10 to 12. Those with a college degree, 5%. 5% unemployment for people with a college degree. So that tells you right there, if you have that education, you're going to be able to find a job. It might not be quite the job you want in a situation that we're in now in this type of economy, but you will be able to have a job. Bottom line is, I am absolutely for funding whatever we need to fund and figuring out testing methods, whatever it is, to make sure our kids are properly prepared going into the future to be able to deal with situations like we're having now with foreclosure and everything else. And then also want to keep them here in Florida, to not have the brain drain that we have going on right now where kids are getting educated here, or they live here and they go to school somewhere else and then they stay there. Florida is an unbelievably great state, and for people to be leaving this state, which they did for the first time since World War II last year, is unacceptable to me.
And very quickly, I know you could take an hour to answer this, but do you support healthcare reform?
Healthcare reform is it's a hot button issue right now. The thing about healthcare is, obviously, I don't support what we're talking about now. I'm from a small business perspective, I'll give you my one little item on healthcare. The healthcare, I supply our employees with healthcare. We give them that option at our 2 small restaurants, and it costs us about $3,000 a month, I believe. But that's important to me. I want to make sure that those people, because I think it helps attract people to our business to give them that benefit. But if the government's going to mandate that I do that, or I'm going to be penalized if I don't, I'm not for that. It should be an incentive to do it, and good business people should be incentivized to want to help their employees like that. And again, I think it attracts better employees. But if you're going to tax me if I don't do that, I'm not for anything like that.
Thank you. Timed that perfect.
Thank you, Russ.
Next candidate up.